Hello everyone, welcome to my first spooky season reading vlog. In this vlog, I am going to be reading a classic spooky book and hopefully finishing two other things throughout the course of the remainder of the week. So if you are new, my name is Marin. Hello, I should have said that. Also, I want to thank everyone for 500 subscribers. Y'all have made my day, my week, my month. So thank you for following and joining me here on YouTube. As I said, in this vlog, we're going to be tackling my October TBR, which is spooky books and almost only spooky books. But to start, I'm going to chat very briefly about the two books that I have already finished this month. Yay, it is October 5th, so I've already finished two books. I finished the 9th Nancy Drew book, which was called The Sign of the Twisted Candles. Really liked that one. Actually, I think it's my favorite of all of the Nancy Drews that I've reread this year. It was very good in terms of the mystery, and it was a little bit different than the usual Nancy Drew, so I was a fan. So I read that all in one go on October 1st. I just finished the whole thing. I also read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, which was my buzzword pick for this month. So I read two books. I am also 80% of the way through You're Invited by Amanda Jayatissa, which is the Literally Dead book club pick for October. So we are doing well so far. In this vlog, however, as I mentioned, I'm going to be tackling a classic, and that is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So first of all, please do appreciate the very cool cover, the black sprayed edges. I have had this on my shelf for over a year and hadn't read it. I bought it, I think, after spooky season last year, and I really wanted to save it for this year. So we're gonna tackle this and read this. The reason I'm gonna read it this week is that another book on my October TBR is like influenced slightly by this one. There are a lot of books that are influenced by this one, and I just really want to read it and see what this is all about. So I have watched a movie adaptation, I believe, so I'm familiar with the story, but yeah, I'm very excited to give this one a go. So this is what I'm going to be tackling in this vlog. I am also currently reading the prequel novella to The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon, which is called The Pale Dreamer. I'm reading that one on my Kindle. I've actually been bringing my Kindle to work with me and reading on my lunchtime. So I did start that one today, so hopefully I can finish that over the next few weeks. And that's what we've got going on in this vlog. Now, before we get into any reading and anything else I might get up to tonight, I did receive my book of the month book for October. So I will show you what that is, a little book haul. I went with a historical fiction book. This is Hester. It was written by Laurie, Lico, Albanese, and it is like not really a retelling of the Scarlet Letter, but more like where Nathaniel Hawthorne got his inspiration for the Scarlet Letter. Now, I'm going to say up front, I didn't love the Scarlet Letter. I read it in high school. It was a required reading book for my American Studies English class. Part of why I did not enjoy it was the overemphasis on the symbolism by the instructor, like every little thing she pointed out and made us talk about. So that kind of cut into the enjoyment of the book. I think had I read it on my own, I would have liked it a little bit better. But this sounds very intriguing. So basically, this follows Isabel. Isabel is a seamstress who immigrates from Scotland, but when her and her husband arrive in America, he takes off to become a medic on a ship and leaves her, like, to fend for herself. Along the way, she meets Nathaniel Hawthorne, and the two have like a little bit of like a forbidden romance going on because it is the early 1800s, and you know, that's not really the done thing. And she kind of becomes his inspiration for Hester Prynne, who is the woman from the Scarlet Letter that is wearing the scarlet letter. So this just sounded really interesting. I have a hard time sometimes with Book of the Month picks because many of them are mystery or thrillers. And I, as a general rule, do not buy mystery or thriller books. And that is because I don't ever see myself rereading them. Because once I've read a mystery or thriller, that mystery or thrill is gone. So I'm not ever going to reread that. So I have to be careful with the Book of the Month picks. The vast majority of the ones that I have on my shelf are historical because that's kind of my preferred genre. This one goes right along with that. So I am very excited to read this. I do not know when I will get to it because let's be realistic, I'm not great about reading my Book of the Month picks. I believe I have read two of them. That's it. So, but this is being added to the collection. I am excited about this one and hopefully I can get it read at some point. I feel like this would be like a good winter time book, but we'll see. So also, they sent this little bookmark. So, yeah, it says friend on the back. So anyway, that was my Book of the Month little book haul. Not much going on. But other than that, that's all I've got to say in this little intro. And we're just gonna chill tonight. So things at school have been ridiculously crazy and busy. I am attempting to do a week in my teacher life this week, but y'all, I filmed a little bit on Monday. I didn't film anything on Tuesday, and I filmed a tiny bit today. So we're not doing so hot with the filming weeks in my teacher life. It's just too busy. There's too much going on. So we're gonna do a little bit better with this reading vlog. But enough of me talking. It's been 7 minutes. So let me go ahead and sign off with the talking, and we're just gonna hang out tonight. So I will film myself doing a little bit of reading. I am hoping to start this one and potentially get, I don't know how many pages in. We'll just kind of play it by ear and see. There is an introduction here, which I will be reading. And then there is like an intro to the Penguin Horror series. So there's some extra stuff before I actually get to the story. So I may not actually get to the actual book at all because this chunk right here is all like additional reading and then the story actually starts here. So we'll see. But I will come back with thoughts, let you know how it's going, and hopefully it will be good because I'm very excited to read this one. Hello all, happy Saturday. I have a little bit of a reading update to share with you. So I did finish listening to You're Invited by Amanda Jayatissa. I was not sure when I started it how well I would actually wind up liking it, but in the end I liked it quite a bit. I gave it 4 stars. This perhaps suffers from like one twist too many that the author threw in at the end of the book, but I really liked how the mystery was like unraveled like as the book went on. So it takes about halfway through before you start figuring out or being told exactly what's going on, but even so the end still had some nice twists and kept me very engaged. So I did enjoy it. It is another book finished. I have now read 3 books in October. I was supposed to start The Haunting of Hill House, as I'd mentioned the last time I chatted with you, and that did not happen. Full disclosure, did not happen. This was a very exhausting week at school, so I was not doing any reading when I got home. I just could not bring myself to do that. So I am going to attempt to get to page 88 today, which is this chunk right here. This has quite a decent amount of an introduction, this whole chunk, as I'd mentioned. And then we have this much of the actual like story. So I am hoping to get all of this read today. It's already 3 o'clock and I have 2 videos to film, but then I'm gonna kind of devote myself to this for the remainder of the day after I finish editing my Week in My Teacher Life video, which goes up tomorrow. So that's going to be the plan for today. I also started listening to the audio of Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen. This was a debut book that came out in July, I believe, and I had been waiting for my hold for the audiobook to come in. I own the physical copy, but it's easier for me to get through audiobooks. So I've been waiting for that one to come in. It finally came in last week, I believe. So now that I've finished You're Invited, I am listening to that one. It's going fairly quickly. I have it set at, I think, like 1.65 speed. I cannot listen to it as fast as some people do. I don't know how y'all do that. The words would just all mash together. I do need it like somewhat of a normal speaking pace, but quicker than like the narration is typically, because narrators do tend to read kind of slow. And I find that especially if it is a British accent, or in the case of You're Invited, a Sri Lankan accent, that I have to really speed it up because the narrator is speaking very, very, very slowly. So I do tend to speed those up even faster than American accents. So that's just a little how I do audiobooks. But I'm not quite sure what I think about Violet Made of Thorns. To be honest, the main character is not my favorite as of right now, but I think we're finally getting into like what the book is about. So I will be curious to see how that one goes, and I am hoping to have that one done probably middle of this coming week, but we will see. So anyway, enough talking. I will be reading more of, like, I will be starting this, actually physically starting it today, and I will pop back on and chat with you about my initial thoughts once I hit like the quarter mark, which is page 32. So this right here, I have it tabbed out, as you can see. So this is the intro, this is that halfway point, then I have my bookmark in like the 50% mark, and then I will hopefully finish the book tomorrow. So that is the plan. Stay tuned to see if I actually make that work. But anyway, now it's time to film 2 YouTube videos, so enough talking. I'll chat with you later.
"2,000 years later."
Hey y'all, long time no chat. I have a reading update for you, and then I'm going to talk about what we're going to do for the remainder of this vlog, which goes up tomorrow, so I'm a little bit behind. I finished reading The Pale Dreamer, which is the novella, the prequel novella to The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. It was fine. I'm giving it 3 stars. I didn't find it to be anything spectacular. It does introduce us a bit more to Paige when she is younger. That's the main character in The Bone Season. Kind of talks about the underground clairvoyant criminal world a tiny bit, but it really wasn't anything special. Like, definitely don't just read this one. Like, follow it up with The Bone Season, or read The Bone Season first like I did and then read this one, because it's not a standalone thing. There's no conclusion. Like, you know, it very clearly has more of a story to tell. So keep that in mind. But I did finish reading that one on my lunch today. I am also almost finished with Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen. This one, I started off not the biggest fan. I don't love the character of Violet. I think the romance between her and Cyrus, if you can even call it a romance, is a little ridiculous, because the author is using the idea that like hate and love are like 2 sides of the same coin, and the animosity between Cyrus and Violet is truly just very mean-spirited. I did not read any sexual tension or anything into that. So for them to like fall in love or like start a relationship out of that animosity didn't really work for me. However, I am intrigued about where this book is going. I have 3 chapters left, so I'm on chapter 26. I am going to finish reading it tonight. So I have this little tiny bit left. So I'm going to read this, and then I will come back and like share my full thoughts. But just know that this is being touted as like a hate to love romance, and they definitely didn't like each other, but I'm not sure where the love piece like comes from. But I am intrigued. So I will let you know further thoughts once I finish, because I have 3 chapters left and we're like in like the climax of the book. I wasn't able to finish listening to the audio this morning because I needed to go to a staff meeting, and I couldn't very well listen to that while I was supposed to be listening to the staff meeting. So that's that one. The other one I am going to very quickly finish and then close out this vlog is The Haunting of Hill House. I am also almost done with this one. Can you see that? Like, I'm in the last chapter. I am on page 226 and there are 235 pages. So again, I will come back, chat more about this once I'm done. So that's what I'm literally going to do right now. I'm going to finish these 2 books and then close out this vlog. Before I do, I wanted to share, I got a little bit of mail yesterday. So I ordered these 2 bracelets from the Little Words Project. So this one says, obviously, teacher and sunshine. I'm gonna just kind of spin you around so you can see like the beadwork. They are very pretty. I have ordered a bracelet from them before. It said persist, but I have that literally tattooed on me now, so I haven't been wearing the bracelet, but I saw the teacher one and it helps support like Donors Choose projects, which I thought was really nice. So picked that one up, and then the sunshine one, I do try to like spread sunshine to my students and things like that. So just a little reminder, especially right now when things are a tad bit challenging. So got those in the mail. I got some more book mail. I picked up the Histories by Herodotus, I think is how you pronounce it. This is a chunky book. It's like over 700 pages. So this is going to be, spoiler, on my 23 books to read in 2022 list, because it's been on my Goodreads TBR since I created my Goodreads back in 2012. So I would like to read this one. I've heard some really good things about it, that people find it very interesting and it's very readable based on like the translation did a good job. So I will be working on this next year, but I went ahead and picked it up now. I also picked up Stamped from the Beginning, which is another chunker by Ibram X. Kendi. I read the like YA edition of this, which is just called Stamped, I think, and enjoyed that one, but I really want to read the whole thing. I am going to be listening to this one on audio. It's coming up on a TBR by the end of the year, because this is a book on my 22 books to read in 2022 list. But this one is also hefty, y'all. It is hefty. There are not as many pages as I thought, actually, and there's a lot of like notes and stuff. So let's see where this actually ends. Okay, it ends on page 511. That's where the epilogue ends. So, but it's a chunker. I'm going to be listening on audio because I would like to listen to audio and kind of read, you know, swap between the two. So that's how I'm going to be doing this. But I am very interested to read this because I think there's going to be some very good information in here, and I've heard really great things about this book in particular. So also finally picked that one up because I would like to like highlight, make notes, that kind of thing as I'm reading. So I have the physical copy of that. Enough of that. So that is everything that I'm going to do before I close this vlog out. We are going to start with this one because I'm literally in the middle of a chapter. So I want to go ahead and finish this one. I will come back and talk to you about it. Then I'm going to finish this one, come back and talk to you about it, and then we're going to close out this vlog. So here we go. right, hello y'all. It's like an hour later because I did have some dinner as well. Excuse my hair. I took it down out of the ponytail holder because it was giving me a headache. So anyway, let's chat about The Haunting of Hill House because I finished this one first. I think this is a me problem, not a book problem, but I was expecting this to be a lot scarier than it turned out to be, in my opinion. I read somewhere that this is not so much a horror book as it is a study in terror, and I guess that makes sense, but at no point did I feel scared or creeped out at all. I will say I enjoyed the first chapter when it was like setting up the story and you're following Eleanor as she's traveling to Hill House, like from where she lives. That journey was very interesting. The book is very atmospheric. You have this old house, this like Gothic house that's been built very strangely. And because it's been built very strangely, things don't sit at the right angles. And so doors close on their own. There's a lot of like weird noises. And there is definitely something haunting the house. So the first chapter, I really enjoyed like the whole atmosphere of it. But I felt like the haunting itself became very repetitive. The spirit or whatever was causing all of it kept doing the same thing like over and over again. And even when you get to like the climax of the book, I did not feel much of anything about it. I also found the introduction of the doctor's wife really irritating. Like I was laughing because it was so ridiculous, because she was so ridiculous. So yeah, not my favorite. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars because it does have a really nice atmospheric feeling. But if you go into this thinking horror, for me, this just did not. It was not. I can see though why it has played such a big role in like other authors' works, because this is probably the first book that really takes a look at like a haunted house that I can think of, aside from like, obviously we have like Dracula and stuff, but you know what I mean. This doesn't have like that paranormal creature aspect that Dracula has, or like werewolves or whatever. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it because so many other books that I have read are like based on this, but for me, this was not quite what I was expecting it to be, which is a bummer, especially because I really like the look of this edition on my shelf. So yeah, not really my favorite. 3.5 stars, mostly for the atmosphere. But that one's done. Now I'm going to very quickly knock out the last few chapters of Violet Made of Thorns, come back, talk to you, close out this vlog. So I will see you in a little bit. Hello all, I'm back. It's 7:30, like an hour since I last talked to you, and I did finish Violet Made of Thorns. So this was one of my most anticipated new releases. I put it on my 22 books to read in 2022 list because I was really curious about it. And unfortunately, it didn't live up to the hype that I'd created in my mind. That being said, I am going to most likely read the second book when it comes out. It's not even been written, doesn't even have a title, I don't think, but I'm very curious to see where this is going because the last few chapters of this book definitely created a cliffhanger of sorts, and I'm kind of curious to see how Violet and Cyrus are going to dig themselves out of the hole that they have created. I'm also kind of curious to see where the overall story is going with the prophecy that was made regarding Cyrus's life and just the world in general. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. So I will check out the second book in the series once it is released. But I do want to just state that basically this book paints Violet as like a very gray character. I would disagree. I don't think there's anything ambiguous about her. Violet is out for her own self, which is interesting to read about a female character that does what she does for her own sake. I feel like a lot of times, especially in like fantasy books, the female character is very self-sacrificing and things like that. And in this case, it's Cyrus who is attempting to like play that role, I think. So I won't say anything else about it, but that was kind of a little bit of a shift that I noticed. And as I said, I'm curious to see where this is going. Also, the cover is really stunning, so I'm really sad that the book like didn't quite live up to that. I'm giving it 3 stars. It was okay. I did not like either main character for the vast majority of the book, but as I said, the ending made things kind of interesting. So definitely curious to see where it's going to go. So there concludes all of the books that I was hoping to read for this vlog. It just took me a few days longer than I had planned, but yes, 3 stars for this one, 3 stars for The Pale Dreamer, and then 3.5 stars for The Haunting of Hill House. So not bad. Pretty good reading, and this brings my total for October to 6 books already, y'all. I'm very pleased with that. So I'm looking at the stack, I have 4 more books sitting over here that I'm wanting to read, as well as 1 more audiobook and another Nancy Drew book, because I need to read the 10th one to like get back on track. I'm also hoping that I can possibly squeeze in another series finale to get that crossed off my list, because y'all, my November and December TBRs are looking a little ridiculous because your girl has not done a good job of making dents on her 22 blank in 2022 lists. Just to do a very good job. So I've got a whole bunch of books left to read. So I would love to be able to cross another one off this month and make my November and December a little bit easier. So we will see. But anyway, yes, we're done with this, finished with this vlog. Before I sign off, let me show you a cute shirt that came in the mail today. So I ordered this one from Callie Danielle. It just says Spice Girl, and it's got a little pumpkin latte right there. So very cute. But yeah, there you go. That was my fun mail for today. And now we're going to sign off. I am going to vlog again next week, so I will be continuing with my October TBR, my spooky books. So stay tuned if you would like to see my thoughts on those. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I'm sorry I didn't get up to too much aside from actually reading and like talking at you. Hopefully I'll do better in the next one. But if you enjoyed this, please do leave it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me. And I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.